Hi folks, Christy here. I'm so glad you're here. This is day 4 of our 26-day mini episode on domestic violence. Now we're going to get real today and we're going to talk about those early warning signs of abuse. Because, abuse usually doesn't start out with someone throwing a punch. Usually, first it sneaks in. Little by little. Maybe it's just a harsh word. They call you dumb. At first, maybe it's someone just trying to control a little part of your life. But that's like quicksand. And before you know it, you're in way too deep and you're trapped in this damn cycle that feels impossible to break free. So that's why I feel it's important to spot those red flags early. Now, whether this is for you or someone you care about, recognizing the signs might help stop things from escalating to something even more dangerous. Look, I love you folks. I really do. And I don't want to see you or hear anyone out there being abused or hurt. So let's go over some of these warning signs. Let's discuss some of the most common warning signs. All right, we're going to start out by talking about extreme jealousy in relationship and why it's a massive red flag when it comes to domestic violence. Because here's the deal. A little bit of jealousy, that's human, right? I mean, we all feel it sometimes. But we're talking about when jealousy suddenly ramps up out of nowhere. It's extreme. That's when it starts turning obsessive. It's a huge warning sign that you have to pay attention to. Because I'm not talking about the playful, they're jealous just because they care. Not that kind. We all like that sometimes. It's kind of like flattery, it's an ego boost. But no, like I said, I'm talking about extreme jealousy. This is rooted in control, not love. It's about possession. It's when they start getting paranoid about who you're with or what you're doing. And they start questioning things that don't even make sense to you. Like, what? Where'd that come from, right? At first, it might seem like no big deal. Okay, whatever. Maybe, you just brush it off. Maybe they casually ask you why you're spending so much time with your friends. Or they start checking your phone a little bit more often. But it doesn't stop there. It escalates. It starts by where they want to know where you're at every second. They want to know what you're doing. And if you don't answer fast enough, boom, rage. Suddenly you're accused of things that you didn't even think about. Cheating, they say. Lying, they accuse you of. It comes out of nowhere, and it is exhausting trying to keep up with that constant BS. What's really going on is that extreme jealousy is all about insecurity and control. And let me tell you, that control then can turn into isolation real quick. You stop seeing those friends just to keep the peace. And that's what they do. They pick a fight with you, put you and them and your friends. It's either him or her or your friends. You have to make a choice. And that's not a healthy relationship. That's not healthy at all. And there you are, before you know it, you're cutting off the very people who can help you. All because of that jealousy-fueled control. So if you're noticing extreme jealousy creeping into your relationship, please don't ignore it. It's one of the early warning signs that can spiral into something more toxic, even worse, abuse. So trust your instincts. If you deserve trust and you deserve respect, not control. Okay, let's move on to quick escalation. In a relationship, it might seem exciting at first, but it's another huge red flag that a lot of people miss this. I missed it. It can seem like passion at first, like you found someone who's really into you. Your vibes match, you're enjoying yourself. But here's the thing, when someone's rushing to say, I love you, just after a few dates, or they want to move in together after only a few weeks, it's not usually about love. Again, that's about control. They might say things like, oh, I've never felt this way before. I've never felt like this about anyone, or something like that. Or they would say, we should just be together all the time. And yeah, that's flattering. That sounds pretty cool. I mean, of course, it's an ego boost, like I said. You get that honeymoon feeling, especially like if you've never felt like that before, or nobody's talked to you like that before, or if you're young and you don't know what to compare it to. You haven't had other relationships or many other relationships. And it's all exciting and new. But in the area of domestic violence, it's a tactic. They're overwhelming you with intense emotions, so you don't have time to think or see what's really going on. And before you know it, you're agreeing to move in, you've quit your job, or you make some big decision because it feels like that's what you're supposed to do to keep the relationship going, right? You want to keep it going smoothly. Well, no, here's the real talk, guys. Healthy relationships don't rush. Listen, those big steps, whether it's moving in or talking about marriage or even just getting serious, just starting a relationship and getting serious, that all should feel right to both of you. You should have time to think, talk to your friends, and be sure you're ready. If someone's rushing you, they're pressuring you, again, that's not about love, that's about control. So if you're feeling pressured, slow down. Won't hurt a thing. Remember, if it's real and it's meant to be, it'll be. So just take a step back. Next one is gaslighting. Have you heard of gaslighting? Gaslighting is one of the most subtle yet devastating forms of abuse. And it's all used to completely mess with your head. It's really scary. It's scary because they're messing with your mental health. I mean, imagine being in a situation where every time you bring up something real, say like something hurt you, and the other person just brushes it off, or they twisty-turn that story, they make you feel like your experience didn't happen for real, didn't happen. I know, sounds like something from sci-fi, but it's true. And that one big thing, well, you're just overreacting. This kind of manipulation, it is manipulation. It works slowly, and it chips away at your trust in your damn self. They might say things like, now, that's not how it happened. Or, and this always used to make me so mad, you're just too sensitive. You're a wuss. That makes you question everything, your feelings, your memories, even your own sanity. And the worst part is they do it in such a casual, smooth way that before you know it, you're apologizing for things that aren't even your own fault. That's gaslighting. And it's not loud. It's not always in your face. It's those small, quiet moments where they twist your words, or they change the facts just enough to leave you confused and doubting. And that's what it's all about. It's about control. Making you question your own reality. They keep you in their grip, always second guessing what's true and what's not. So if you find yourself constantly questioning whether you're the problem or you're feeling like you're losing your mind, listen to that gut feeling. That's there for a reason, okay? That gut feeling is telling you something, because this kind of emotional abuse is real. I'm telling you, it sounds funky, but it is real, and it's so dangerous, and it's just as damaging as physical abuse, if not worse, because it gets inside your head. That's dangerous. So reach out to someone that you trust, talk it through, and remind yourself, keep reminding yourself, you're not crazy. And what you feel is real, okay? No one has the right to make you doubt your own reality. We're going to move on to unrealistic expectations. This is a good one. This is a huge part of an abusive relationship, and it's a sneaky way of keeping you constantly off balance. And this is really mean. It's just plain downright mean. The abuser sets these impossible standards, like expecting you to be at their beck and call 24/7. You're always supposed to know exactly what they need or do everything exactly like they want it. Like you're supposed to be some damn mind reader or superhuman, right? But here's the kicker. When you can't live up to those ridiculous expectations, because let's get real, no one can, well then, again, there they go, they blow up. They get angry, frustrated, even worse, maybe punish you. And man, that can leave you feeling like no matter how hard you try, you're always falling short. You start walking on eggshells, doing everything in your power. But it's like you're stuck in a game you can't win, and the rules keep changing. The abuser will use every little mistake, quote mistake, that you make as an excuse to get more controlling and more abusive. It's really, they try to make you feel like you're the one screwing up and that you're not good enough. And over time, that chips away at your confidence and your self-worth until you're totally depending on them for validation, for your own self-worth. You end up blaming yourself when the truth is they're rigging the whole game. It's fixed by them. This is emotional manipulation, plain and simple. It's about power and control. I'm not lying. I'm not going to stop reminding you, okay, that it's not the other little things that split off from domestic violence. Not anger issues, not jealousy issues. It's not financial issues. It's all about control. Hear me, that's real talk. You've done nothing wrong, and you're not going to change the control issue. That's for a professional. That's for someone who's studied and researched, and they've treated clients with control issues. You're not going to change them. Love will not change control. So here's the thing. You don't deserve that. No one does. If you're feeling like you can never do anything right, or maybe you're feeling like you constantly have to prove yourself to keep the peace, that's a big red flag. That's another one. That's not love. That's control. And you deserve so much better than that. You do. You really do. If you're in that situation, please don't hesitate. After listening to this, reach out for help. You don't have to face this alone. There's help out there. Let's move on to another one that breaks my heart. It's manipulation of children and pets. We're going to dive into something serious because it's twisted, but it's so important. That's how they use kids and pets to manipulate and trap their victims. It's like they know exactly where to hit you the hardest. When they can't control you directly, they'll go after the ones you love the most. That's when it stops being just about you. It becomes about your kids, your pets, and your fear for their safety. And that's a real fear. Just imagine someone telling you that if you don't fall back in line, that they're going to take your kids away or hurt your pet. Oh my gosh, it's like a knife to the heart, right? And that's the point. That's what they want. They know how deep your love runs, and they use it as a weapon. Those threats aren't just about scaring you. This is emotional blackmail. If there's a way of making sure you feel trapped, that's how they do it. Like you've got no way out. That's how they want you to feel. And the worst part, you do anything to protect your kids and pets, right? They know that. Everybody knows that. That's how they keep you stuck. I've heard the stories where abusers say things like, if you leave, you'll never see the kids again. I'll hurt the dog if you don't listen. Breaks my heart. That kind of mental torture, it's unbearable. And it's designed to keep you controlled and terrified. That's the whole purpose. But listen, the impact isn't just on you. Kids can feel when something's wrong. And that sense of fear and helplessness, it leaves a mark on them too. And I'm not trying to say this to make anybody feel guilty. Please. You feel guilty enough, I'm sure. That's not what I'm trying to do. I want to relate to you. Even pets can sense the stress. They're not immune to the trauma happening around them either. This level of manipulation, to me, it's beyond cruel. It's so beyond cruel to use children and pets. They are the most defenseless, innocent creatures that walk our earth. But the key to getting out, folks, listen, the key to getting out is recognizing it for what it is. That is plain and simple abuse. And when you see it clearly, you can start finding your way out of the darkness. You can. There are people and resources who can help. It's scary as hell. I know it is. But there's people who know how to get you and your loved ones out safely. That's another key word here. Safely, please. No one should live in fear for their kids or their pets. It's time to break that cycle. Reach out. Take back your power. Let's break down another one of these patterns that keep people stuck in these abusive relationships. And that's the constant cycle of apologies followed by the same old abusive behavior. This is a classic. Here's how it usually goes. Okay, after things blow up, the abuser comes back with what seems to be a real apology. They'll say things like, "Oh, hon, I didn't mean it. I love you. It won't happen again." Something like that. And sometimes they'll even toss in some flowers or a big gesture to prove how sorry they really are. And, of course, you want to believe it, right? After all the hurt, that little spark of hope, it feels good. I mean, like maybe, just maybe, things will be different this time. But here's the thing. That hope that you're holding on to, it can trap you longer than you should stay. It feels real at the moment, but sooner or later, those same old behaviors creep back in. The honeymoon phase, where everything feels, okay, it's temporary. And you'll find yourself back in the same cycle, whether it's the yelling, the controlling, or the outright violence. Before you know it, you're right back where you started. Because this cycle keeps you stuck. Because those apologies mess with your head. You'll keep false hope, over and over. They make you question yourself, thinking maybe they do mean it this time. How many times? How many times are you going to say that? Are you going to let it go by? But unless they're putting in some real effort and getting some outside help, those apologies are downright, they're empty. They're empty apologies. They don't mean nothing. It's just another way to keep you hanging on, giving you just enough hope to stick around. And here's the truth. I have done nothing since day one of the podcast but tell you the truth. I'm doing these little extra episodes because I want to arm you with the truth. If someone keeps saying they're sorry but nothing changes, that's not real sorry. That's not being real remorseful. That's manipulation. That's getting control for a little bit, and then they'll do their thing, and then they want control back. And you deserve so much better than that. You deserve being stuck where someone else's twisted cycle is abuse. It's their twisted cycle. You get sucked into it, and that's abuse. All right, folks, here's the deal. Recognizing the signs of abuse, well, it just isn't about helping yourself. It's about helping others too. Because abuse can creep into people's lives before they even realize it. And once it's there, it's so hard to shake. It's so hard to get out of. We're talking about catching this early, okay? Sometimes as early as teen years. Remember a few episodes ago, we learned that between the ages of 11 and 17, 11 years old and 17-year-olds, I have grandchildren that old. That's when a lot of these behaviors start to show up. And it's on all of us to be vigilant. The truth is, folks, domestic violence can happen to anyone, anywhere, and it doesn't always show up with bruises, as we've learned. Okay, so if something today hit close to home, or if you know someone who might need to hear this, please don't be afraid to share it. Share it. Tell your friends. Post about it online. Bring it up in conversations, because the more we get these signs out there, the better shot we have at stopping the abuse before it gets worse. And listen, if you or someone you care about is dealing with abuse right now, please don't wait. Reach out for help. There are people ready to stand with you. You're not alone in this fight. I know you feel like it. I know it's a scary step. You're not alone. All right, folks, thank you. I want you to be sure to tune in tomorrow. We are going to have a survivor story. Her name's Sarah, and she has a powerful story. You'll want to hear it. I promise. You won't want to miss it. All right, be safe, stay informed, and let's be there for each other.